Merry Christmas, everybody! I know it's only November 6th, but if Donald Trump can prematurely declare victory in a presidential election where there's thousands upon thousands of legitimately cast ballots left to be counted, I can declare it Christmas on November 6th. Get over it. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to This Week in Theater, the show where we break down exactly what went down in theater this week. Not a lot happened in theater this week, because most of the world, and myself included, have had their eyes glued to the television screens watching the season finale of the United States of America. And I've gotta say, the writers nailed the stakes, but the pacing is just so abysmal. And the cast of characters is just totally unbelievable. Like, look at this.
Do you think we're stupid? You think we're fools? You know something?
I said, what happened to the election? It's off. And we have all these announcers saying, what happened? And then they said, oh.
And victory, 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 victory. For angels are being released right now. Angels are being dispatched right now. Hamanda aka ata raka teda baka sanda ata ambo osa kata rite eke banda ata rike didi ashata.
We're not prepared to give that number. The Biden crime family steals the election. The media's covering up. The Biden crime family steals this election. We want our freedom for the world. Give us our freedom, Joe Biden. Joe Biden's covering up this election. He's stealing it. Where were we? What was the last question?
Every time I see that last clip, I think I'm watching someone do a really badly overacted audition monologue and then can't figure out how to leave the room. Jokes aside, I do want to let you know that I'm filming this on Thursday night, which is day 3 of this election, and you'll be watching it on Friday, which is day 4, so who knows what's happened between now and then. Hopefully my jokes are still relevant and not tragic. It looks pretty good for Biden in Nevada and Arizona. It's a neck and neck in Georgia, and Pennsylvania is still anyone's game. But, what's that? Oh, we now take you live to an update about the process of ballot counting in Nevada. Let's watch.
Now let me bring you up to speed. We know nothing. You are now up to speed.
Thank you so much for that update. One news story that is of particular interest to stage managers like myself is Sharpiegate, a false and debunked conspiracy theory that Republican voters in certain states have been given Sharpies to fill out their vote, which somehow invalidates their vote, despite the fact that the poll workers have proven that ballots filled out with a Sharpie are actually still valid, and it does nothing to harm your vote. But I must admit, I did not have writing utensil sparks controversy on my 2020 bingo card. But depending on what network you are watching and whether they've called Arizona for Biden or not, there is still the possibility of a 269-269 electoral vote tie, which I incidentally do have on my 2020 bingo card, right in between the murder hornets, which, check, and then the alien invasion, which we'll see. While as of the time of recording, we still don't know whether I'll be able to return to work anytime in the next 4 years or if we will completely give up on controlling the coronavirus pandemic, there are a few items that are incredibly good news that have come out of this election. Joe Biden is on track to get more votes than any candidate in the history of the United States, and voter turnout is at an all-time high. Sarah McBride has made history by becoming the first openly transgender state senator in the country. Similarly, LGBTQ candidates were elected and have made history in states like New York, Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee. Florida instituted a $15 minimum wage, an abortion ban was struck down in a state that's name is escaping me at the moment, drug possession was decriminalized in Oregon, and a couple of states have fully legalized marijuana. In a time of so much uncertainty, I find it really reassuring and find solace in focusing on these types of local wins, even if there's not the kind of sweeping motion that the polls predicted. Which, speaking of the polls, everyone knows that the polls are not broken, right? We're aware that it's people that are ashamed to admit that they're voting for Donald Trump lying to the people taking the poll. And vote how you want, but I think if you're so ashamed of your choice that you lie about it to a stranger that is an official pollster, maybe reconsider that choice. I don't know. Just a thought. Throughout this election, but especially since Broadway has shut down, I've seen people tell artists with platforms and celebrities that they should keep their nose out of politics and keep their feed more neutral and go back to just providing entertainment. That's not why they've followed them, so why are they voicing their opinions? To which I would like to respond on behalf of all artists, that you're right, we should keep our nose out of politics and go back to performing our totally non-political and very neutral shows like Hamilton, Ragtime, Wicked, Seussical, Avenue Q, Showboat, West Side Story, Of the I Sing, Evita, Little Shop of Horrors, Big River, Rent, Jekyll and Hyde, All Shook Up, Urinetown, Spring Awakening, Little Mermaid, Billy Elliot, As Thousands Cheer, Porgy and Bess, Oklahoma, South Pacific, The Sound of Music, Fiddler on the Roof, 1776, Sweeney Todd, Les Miserables, Into the Woods, Miss Saigon, Chicago, Footloose, Aida, Thoroughly Modern Millie, Tarzan, In the Heights, Hair, and Newsies. Wait a minute. Or maybe art, and specifically theater, has always been political, dating back to ancient Greece, when comedic poets would perform political satire that significantly shaped public opinion of Athenian democracy. Also, artists are people. They're allowed to have their own opinions and to voice those opinions publicly, especially around issues that affect themselves, their loved ones, or the entire country. For example, my opinion is that anyone who directly and blatantly threatens democracy and the heart of our democracy, which is our voting process, should not be the one that is put in charge of that democracy. Every single ballot in this election needs to be counted, and no one should be declaring victory until that process has completed. Speaking of every ballot being counted, if you voted by mail, please do me a huge favor and check out the link in the description below so that you can go and make sure that your vote was counted, and if you need to, repair the vote so that your vote and your voice is heard. And this week in theater, one final piece of shameless self-promotion. Come see my new Zoom reading. It's a new play that I wrote called Waiting for the Vote. It's playing on every news network all the time. And that was this week in theater and the country and the world. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a huge favor and give it a big thumbs up, mostly for the YouTube algorithm, but a little bit for the ego boost. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Kent, and that was This Week in Theater. This snazzy feathered production assistant, as well as other cool stage management merchandise, is now available at kentjamescollins.com/store. Link in the description below.